Sure if that's just how it has to be or something we can do about it.
It will be a consistent cleaning and I will keep it, like we clean it, it'll make a difference. But if it's not getting swept. Every single day and probably night, with the amount of use it probably gets and it's an issue, especially if it's not being swept before the game. Will we have any high school student of the month this month?
We don't, well, she sent the spreadsheet out last week, so we haven't got it back yet.
Do it next week.
Wasn't there?
Classes.
Oh, yeah.
But if there was one that would be part of, does it matter if it's periods like that? Or more than
It's a regularly used gym. I mean, even our high school gym probably gets way more normal foot traffic on it than you would normally let on a gym floor.
Especially this time of year, man, between games and stuff, you got some parents out there shooting around in their boots. Or just talking. Makes sense.
Day and time where we used to have little baskets that you get your shorts, and shirt, and pre-foods, and you can rock.
Yep, I remember those days.
You never did not wear open toe shoes.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and call to school board meeting for the Pleasant Hills School District Board of Directors. This is December 2nd, 2024. We'll start with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our mission statement is to graduate all students with high levels of academic and personal achievement, ready for post-secondary excellence, and prepared for productive, compassionate citizenship through research-based instruction and a collaborative system of support. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Just a change, so 4.1 student of the month, we'll need to move that to the December 16th meeting.
All right. Go ahead and go to 3.0 introductions of our audience. Do please introduce yourselves.
I'm Ryan Dixon. I'm the director of choirs at Hill Middle and High School.
Welcome.
I'm Ruby Jackson. I'm a senior at Pleasant Hill. I'm Emily Krause, and I'm also a senior.
Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. All right, that does bring us to 4.0. 4.2, high school leadership.
Yes.
It's kind of a slow part of the year. I mean, all the sports just ended, so we're starting with winter sports. And we don't have a lot. Morale is low. We're trying to get it high. We've got the last 2 weeks before breaks and kind of just pump people up to get final grades in looking good before we finish with winter break. But we have a couple of things we've been doing.
Yeah, so honor society projects for sophomores through seniors who participate were due last week, and so everyone's kind of getting their project turned in and trying to plan out how to do it. I'm doing a volleyball quads tournament to raise money to make care baskets for people who are going through chemo and cancer treatment, for facilities in UP.
I'm planning on taking over the Best of the Village podcast that our company director has started. He's been having like part-time keeping up with it, so me and another athlete, Cheyenne Green, have been planning to take it over, and then we'll just give an episode every month or two and update on what the community is doing and especially what the athletics have been doing. And that's published on Spotify, which is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, and that's just two of the projects. There's a ton of different things that people are doing. We also just started the giving tree. This week, we're gonna set up an actual tree in the commons and put tags up and put flyers up all around the high school and middle school. Gave an announcement to put in the high school and middle school announcements that go out, so we'll continue to raise money, or sorry, bring in gifts for that. Last year, we had a really successful year, and we filled all of Miss Bonaventre's spare cupboards with gifts and donations, which was really great. They go to the local church, and then along with that, student council is going to decorate the hallways in the commons. We've made door decorations for each teacher that are winter themed, so there's like snowflakes, reindeer, snowmen, like a bunch of different things. Each teacher gets their own door decoration until, keep those up until winter break starts. We're gonna, like I said, student council is gonna help put up the tree and other decorations that the library has. I know the librarian is doing a special, setup of different holidays. She's doing like Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, like a different setup for all the different holidays and religions that people are part of, which is really awesome. Josie Heacock is working on making a flyer. It's kind of similar to something Crestwell does, the Bulldog Beats. It's just kind of like a template that they have. They put out sports games, Spirit Week stuff. We're running a winter Spirit Week this year. So like putting all of that up, and they put it around the high school and in the bathrooms and everything, so that people can kind of see in front of them what's happening and what events are going on with the school.
That's pretty much it. Other than that, I've kind of been working on keeping our Instagram going, trying to post when games are, when things like that are, and making sure we follow other Instagram accounts for like the band, the choir, other events that are going on, just trying to let people know what's really happening. Because I know a lot of the time that's why we're not getting as many people to show up to things, because they just don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got.
Could be because they're busy doing all these activities. It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's fun though.
yeah.
Well, really appreciate you coming. I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions. But on behalf of the board, we really appreciate student participation anytime we can get it. That's our why, is ultimately the students. We don't get much interaction with them unless we're doing it as parents outside the scope of a board member. So it's awesome having students come into these meetings. Really appreciate it. As much as we like having you guys here, you're not expected to stay for the whole thing. We'd love you to stay and observe and share what you observe with your classmates, but I understand fully if you guys need to get out of here and get back to those busy schedules. Thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Right. Brings us to public forum. For individuals who are on site during this portion of the board meeting, members of the public are specifically invited to present items of commendation and or concerns. At the discretion of the board chair, further public participation may be allowed at the time specific agenda items are under consideration by the board. District policy BDDH. For those of you viewing online, the school district posts the upcoming agenda on our website, pleasanthill.k12.or.us, the Friday before regularly scheduled Monday school board meetings. This will allow for public comment prior to the board meeting. Please click on the tab provided to share your comments for the school board to consider at the upcoming meeting. Personnel matters may not be discussed in public at a school board meeting. Members of the public who have personnel concerns or commendations should share them directly with the district superintendent. Brings us to our action items and 6.1 consent agenda. Unless there's any concerns or questions, I will hear motions for the consent agenda.
And it's entirely.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, passes unanimously. 6.2, approve Pleasant Hill High School Gymnasium seismic upgrade resolution.
So this has been some time coming. Back in May of 2024, district was awarded a seismic rehabilitation grant from the Infrastructure Finance Authority based on it was prepared by WK Engineers Incorporated in the amount of just under $2.5 million. This grant covers the design and construction of seismic upgrades to Pleasant Hills High School Gymnasium. The seismic evaluation reports completed as part of the grant process. On September 13th of this year, we issued a request for qualifications for structural engineering, architectural design, and project management services for the gym seismic rehabilitation. There's 4 candidates that attended the mandatory pre-proposal meeting on September 20th, and 2 firms submitted proposals for review. The district review team evaluated the submissions based on the criteria outlined in the RFQ. Both firms met the requirements, but WRK engineers stood out for their ability to maximize grant funds, control costs, and their extensive experience with seismic rehabilitation grant program projects, including similar gymnasium structures as ours. The selection was based on qualifications with price negotiations and contract terms following the selection process. Additionally, WRK has submitted the attached engineering services proposal. It is recommended the board of directors approve the award of the Pleasant Hill High School Gymnasium seismic rehabilitation project to WRK engineers of Vancouver, Washington.
Just for the sake of the record, this is something that's been before this is information that's been updated to the school board for some time, and this specific information was presented to the school board weeks ago for consideration and have an opportunity to weigh in. So,
Correct.
And I'm just stating that more for the record than anything else. Any last minute questions or concerns?
I'll move to approve resolution. Here. Very Pleasant Hill High School gym seismic.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. That goes to come with an HVAC upgrade.
So that'd be the next part of this is to sit down. I know lighting, since you're doing with the fluorescent bulbs, with that upgrade to LED, so that would be part of what we talked about, is including some of that. It's paying for that general fund. And there's some rebates that we're utilizing and replacing lighting around the district right now. So there's some opportunities.
Good to hear. All right. 6.3 OSAA Cooperative Agreement Resolution.
Right, so for full member schools located in the same geographic area, we may apply for cooperative sponsorship for OSA activity when the school has difficulty sponsoring the activity by itself. For the 24-25 academic year, the following program is applying for cooperative sponsorship: girls swimming, Pleasant Hill High School, and Springfield High School. Support for this application will make activities available to Pleasant Hill High School students that would not be available in our school because of a lack of members if a joint sponsorship did not. So we currently have a girl swimmer that would like to swim, and Springfield High, Springfield School District is going to the same cooperative sponsorship on their side. So it's recommended the board of directors support the USA cooperative sponsorship application for girls swimming between Pleasant Hill High School and Springfield High School.
Are these student driven or athlete driven? If you have a student who wants to participate,
They generally are. Our last one was tennis. We're not for tennis, but Crestwell does, and so we did a cooperative agreement with, Russell.
And how do you decide who to cooperate with?
Sometimes there's a relationship that already exists, maybe through a coach. Springfield High is the closest, I believe, in the area that has swimming.
Okay.
And then the thing about it, the Springfield, have to be careful, is that when they do a cooperative agreement, they basically take on the size of Pleasant Hill into that agreement. They have to make consideration of whether or not that would bump them up a classification for state purposes. So there are some possible downsides that we have to be careful with.
They take on the whole district?
They would take on the size of the high school, state in calculations. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's probably the news with this and just getting folks.
Motions. Second. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. This is unanimously. All right. 6.4 out of state band trip request.
All right, so we've got in front of you is the out-of-state travel request for the high school jazz band and jazz choir. Excuse me. The abbreviated version is, they should have planned on taking a charter bus to University of Pacific in Stockton, California, traveling between February 28th of 25 and March 4th of 25. We had a total of 3 days of missed school. We have seen, and Chris has approved, is a pretty complete packet of information covering all the details that we want to see and making this happen for the kids. I believe that Ryan's here to ask if there are any questions, if you may have some.
Well, there are no questions. I'll hear motions.
All go to approve the out-of-state travel request. Stop.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Jay.
6.5, approve second read board policy for November 4th.
Right, so this packet has been in front of you a couple times now. First was just through board discussion. Following that, brought it back for a first read, and so this is for second read and actual policy adoption. So the following information and policy has been presented to the board of directors for a first read during the regular board meeting on November 4th, 2024. Recommendation is that the board of directors approve the adoption of the following board policy changes around health services. Policy EVBA, first aid is a delete. Policy EVBA, this will be a back and add, but it's under the title of student health services. This is a highly recommended policy from OSBA. The corresponding AR to policy EVBA. For policy EVBB, injury or illness reports, this is a required update. Policy GBEB, communicable diseases in schools, this is a highly recommended update. And so is the corresponding AR. Policy JHC, student health services and requirements, this is the leads in lieu of the new EVBA. Policy JHCA and JHCB, immunization and school sports participation, this is highly recommended. And an update. Policy JHCC, communicable diseases for students, this is the delete. And policy JHCCA, students, HIV, HPV, and AIDS, this is a delete. Also, the restraint or seclusion record and corporal punishment policy JGA, corporal punishment is optional, and this is an update for us. Policy JGAB, use of restraint or seclusion, this is required, and it's an update for us. And so is the corresponding AR.
Ordinance from November 4th, 2024, it's for clarification on the record. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. And then 6.6, first read from board policy review. Also November 4th, 2024.
Yes, so this packet was provided under board discussion during the November 4th, 2024 regular board meeting. Excuse me, and is recommended the board of directors approve the first read of the following board policy changes. And there was no changes in what was brought forward from this one from the discussion. So as they were presented in discussion, they've been brought forward in the first read. So reporting on child abuse, policy BBF, these are the board member standards of conduct. It's a highly recommended, and it's an update for us. It's we have a version 1, so it's the update to the version 1. Policy BBFC is reporting of suspected child abuse, abuse of a child, and it's optional, but it's an update for us because we do have it. And then policy JBNAB and JHFE, suspected abuse of a child reporting requirements, and it's a required update. JBNAB, JHFE, the corresponding AR. What we've done in this one is we've added the GPNAB to the side of the policy. So remember, the G side is the personnel side, and J side is the student side. JHFE and JBNAB is where you're seeing those two policies interchangeable, one for the personnel side and for the student side, and the corresponding ARs for each of those as well. Under special education, abbreviated school related policy, IGBAF, special education, individualized education program is a required update. And the corresponding ARs are a required update. Policy IGBAG, special education procedural safeguards is a required update. Policy JBAA, section 504 students is a highly recommended, and it's an update to the version 2 that we have. And so is the corresponding AR.
This is not something we're taking a vote on tonight, right?
Uh,
So
We've,
a little confused between these
I would,
first and second read.
yes, I would ask that you just approve it as a first read.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll hear motions.
And what that does is just help me through the formal process. If there are changes that people want to have a discussion about to the formal process, to see if there's changes, there's no changes. Sticking through back to second.
Right. Say all those.
I would just say the board policy first read packet.
Board policy in the packet.
First read. First read. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. All right. So 7.0 board discussion. Reports and information. We'll start with the elementary report. Good evening, Brenda, thank you for being here.
Cooking real.
Yep.
Okay. We've been sharing our attendance data with you regularly each month, and at the elementary school, we're really trying to work with needs. So we've started some new incentives for each grade level and class. We have a new leaderboard in the front of our school, and we're tracking monthly attendance. And so if you see, second grade is really rocking the attendance for October. It's just calculating November's attendance. And then, so we did it by grade level and including staff were in 6th place. And then there are fewer of us, so I will say. And then, each grade level also had a top class. And so Mrs. Davis's class was the top attender in all of the schools. The second grade was the top, and she had the best attendance of all of the schools. So we got to have a celebration with them. Get them surprises. They were really stoked about being at school every day. Our staff received training on using Oregon Data Suite, which is a program that is through, let's just say Willamette ESD. And we're really working on recording all kinds of data and different kinds of supports we offer students. This platform gives us the opportunity to have a continuous record of students, so attendance, behavior, reading, interventions. We're really excited to have this all in one place and have our staff really start using this. Our third trade of the month for November was kindness. Our counselor, Mrs. Black, sent out a kindness calendar with an active kindness for each day. Encourage students to practice kindness, and they brought it back together. Kindness incentive. Mr. Bocto, our PE teacher, did 2 family PE nights, one for K through 2nd grade and one for 3 through 5. To share with families what PE looks like at the elementary school and what students learn in PE, and then have all of the activities and equipment out, and families got to participate with their kids. And it was so much fun watching families play hockey or try the rock wall, or it was really, really cool. So it was a great way to get families in the building. And upcoming events, we have 2 Building Spirit assemblies this week, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. Next week, we have an evening PTO meeting. The 12th, we have our 5th grade winter concert. On the 17th, we have a winter wonderland in PE, which is kind of like an indoor PE event with lots of lights and Christmas music and activities. It's really fun if you're looking for an event to show up to. And then on the 19th, we have our Billy's Winter Shop, where our students get to purchase gently used items with their Billy Bucks for Christmas presents for their families, like a keyboard. That's all we've got going on at the elementary school.
I got a rubber snake last year.
Yeah. Oh, there's some treasures showing up this year.
Did you find it anywhere specific?
It was a gift bag.
It was fast.
It fell over in the shoe.
I found it a few places since then.
Awesome.
To the attendance piece, Whitney and I were on a conference call with an ODU representative on special education and just doing some reporting. But our K-5 special education population was a 33% increase, had a 33% increase in our regular attendance. It was last school year, so. Wow. Makes sense.
Any particular factor you can?
We talked about that, and that's kind of what the conversation was about. And I think what you've seen and just kind of what you're seeing here in all of our school reports, it's, I think most importantly, just about the engagement that's taking place on a daily basis and reminding students and family that's important and want to get here and fully engaged with the students. Especially when the students are places 1 through 5, we're attendance. It's good. Yeah.
Right, thank you very much, Brenna. Any other questions? Move on to middle school report, maybe Caleb.
So we'll start with our students of the month for October. Students of the month, Dominic Hammond Mendez, Cameron Carey, and Oliver Kraus. Most improved students of the month, Kelly Curtis, Bailey Kelly, Tessa Sprague. Citizens of the month for Emerson Hill, Ruben Gillespie, and Olivia Flint. Right before Thanksgiving break, we had our first quarter awards assembly. Our focus on this quarter was academic grit and perseverance. So teachers nominated students and then middle school-wide assembly called students down to give them a certificate and a t-shirt to recognize their academic grit and perseverance for the first quarter. That was put on by middle school student council members and the advisors, Ms. Baum, Mrs. Olson. For grade reports, we're looking at 6th and 7th grade. Chris will talk about 8th grade. But at quarter one progress, we had 22 6th and 7th graders with a total of 48 Fs. So we're just looking at the number of students that were failing the equivalent of not making credit in middle school, but it's middle school. We're going to kind of look at the same numbers. So we had 22 6th and 7th graders combined, with a total of 48 Fs. We had 4 6th graders with a total of 11 Fs. And 18 7th graders with a total of 37 Fs. So to be looking at those students essentially not being track. Regular attenders by grade level. So what you're looking at here, it's kind of hard to see in the graph, but I've kind of articulated it below the chart as well. So our percentage of regular attenders, we're looking at just for the month of November. So regular attenders, students that were in school 90% or better, was actually down 7% in 6th grade. That makes up about 5 students. In the 6th grade, after remaining steady at 84% throughout the year. 7th grade regular attenders were up 2%, 78%, and 8th grade regular attenders were up 4% to 83%. One of the things that we're doing at middle and high to try to address attendance is looking at the weeks previous, students that were regular attenders, students that have less than 90% attendance week previous, and between administration and counselors actually making personal phone calls to each of those families to see what's going on. We just started that. I think 2 things we've noticed. One of the things what Jim was just talking about regarding engagement and reaching out to families has been beneficial, but then also it's shown if we have system breakdowns in terms of auto dialers or different systems we have to contact families, it's helped channel out on that. So we can make sure we're addressing it not only on an individual basis, but on the systems basis as well. Looking at average daily attendance year to date, this is the number of students that are showing up on an average day, slightly down month of November. But again, this is looking at year to date, not just November itself. So through September, we're at 94.63. October, it dipped down to 93.94. And this is November, we're at 96.4. Looking ahead, we have our first winter dance coming up on Friday, December 13th. And we have choir and band concerts coming up on December 18th and 19th, respectively.
Am I looking at this right? It looks like the Fs. Each. The ones who got Fs, looks like they each got 2. Am I reading that right? There were 22 6th and 7th graders with a total of 48 Fs, which means each one had to get a little over 2 Fs.
Right.
Looks like that's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And then, is there any correlation between Fs and attendance? There has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
That's the big crux of the conversation with parents. Looking at, hey, if you're only here 70% of the time, even if you got 100% of that,
Yeah,
your bar is.
yeah.
When you say that there's an issue with the auto dialer that was having that was one of the factors. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Making sure with our new student information system that families are getting contacted appropriately when they're not present. So like, do I know, like, for example, oh, the kid missed, and then one of the parents might not have got the auto dialer, had no idea their student missed that period. So things like that, more like the technical side, but also just our systems. When I'm calling that family to go, hey, I noticed your child was gone. Oh yeah, well, I didn't get that auto dialer. Oh, okay. That's a piece, making sure that the communication is as robust as possible.
I get it. Any other questions for Caleb? Thank you very much. Brings us to the high school, and then Chris.
So kind of going, our little recap in November, and like I said, these are kind of the month that's and everything, your fall sports kind of come to an end, and I think with volleyball, girls soccer kind of ended heartbreakers, and so it's always kind of difficult that way, trying to celebrate the positive part of the seasons. I mean, they were great fall seasons all the way across. I think that the kids and the fans, the community represented Pleasant Hill very well. We enjoyed it. It was a pretty exciting time. But it's hard to believe that we're heading into winter sports already. A lot of excitement around both basketball programs and wrestling. And we do have cheerleading, and then we have the one goal, it's swimming for Springfield. So that'll be fun to get down and see a couple Springfield swimming. The grade reports, so I took on 8th grade to put instead of the middle school, because our high school, our student success coordinator, Paul Griffith, is working with 8th graders and 9th graders, and I think I told you earlier, he's working with them the same. So trying to use the language with 8th graders about what on track means, even though as 8th graders, the credits aren't counted at that point, but we just kind of want to make that language about, to be on track, you cannot fail more than 2 classes. So our 8th graders, and you can kind of add, yes, interesting question. At the high school, I know that we do have some seniors that account for like 5S, one student with 5S, or, the absolute non-attenders. But right now, in our 8th grade, we have 9 students with 20 total Fs, and out of that, we have 6 of them with 2 or more. So we're trying to communicate to those students what that means if you get into your freshman year and you're still failing 2 classes, what that means around credit attainment and graduation. 9th graders, 9 students, 18 Fs, 5 with 2 or more Fs. What we're doing, Paul, our student success coordinator, second semester, he's going to have both an 8th grade and 9th grade class that he teaches, 1 7th period, 1 4th period, that we're identifying some of those kids, some by invite, some by placing, to get some of those kids some extra study supports, kind of like college and high school. So we're going to be working with that. That's a first time thing that we'll be doing with that. So kind of excited to see how that goes. You can kind of see 10th grade, 10 with 16 Fs, 5 that have 2 or more. 11th grade, only 1. That's going to 1 more classes, and then 12th grade goes 4 classes. So we'll get down to the attendance, the regular attenders. October, November, you see 9th grade, we're up 9% in the regular attenders. 10th grade stayed the same. A little bit down in juniors and seniors. Seniors are holding steady at 60%. So, somebody reminded me, like last time I read these seniors are last year's juniors, and remember all my chagrins about last year's juniors in attendance. Well, now they're seniors. So I'm told we have a little bit. But as Caleb mentioned, our attendance team is meeting. And it is kind of nice, it's kind of effective. So we break it down. I have the seniors, Clarissa has juniors, and Kyle has sophomores. Paul has freshmen in 8th grade, and then 7th grade and 6th grade for Caleb. But we're making those individual phone calls to parents. And for me, it's just starting to build that relationship with senior parents, because not only do I talk to them about the list of seniors that are failing classes that need to graduate and attendance, which they go kind of hand in hand with each other. So I'm getting a chance to call them the seniors this year, like right now in November is where last year I started calling the senior parents in February. So right now they're going to hear me every week. They'll get a phone call from me if their student is someplace either attendance wise or failing classes. So hopefully that will kind of nudge that up a little bit. Our average daily attendance, you can kind of see is held pretty true. November was a little bit low, 2 percentage points lower. And then just looking ahead, we're looking to share the learner profile with staff and leadership of students soon. So that what we did with the learner profile is what we kind of called the portrait of the graduate then. So we'll be sharing that with the leadership students. We'll also be given a climate survey. That's going to a meeting with the core department heads, because I'll do that in the English class at Fort Little next week. So that should go out next week. If not, I think by the end of this week, we'll get that climate survey out to be able to kind of see where kids land, what's going on with their lives in high school. And then I'll be sharing that information with you as well when we get it back, as well as the student, our leadership class wants to kind of take a look at that. And even they use the word campaigns or something that comes out of that as a as a leadership class, get something going in school to create awareness, whether it's the bullying, harassment, or if it's attendance, or if it's they don't belong, but they need somebody that they can trust in school. We'll kind of figure out how to move forward with that. Our attendance incentives, which I think have been working pretty well. Last week, we had our first raffle where we did the heads and tails for a pair of Apple AirPods, and that was pretty successful. Along with students who had perfect attendance for the quarter, students who won their individual classroom perfect attendance, I think I explained that at one point. They got called out to the student center to do it. Every student with perfect attendance received 2 sets of E's, so we kind of got a little bit of a. I think we had one person with 3. Do we have one person with 3 sets of E's? We had one guy that had the 3 sets of E's. Answered, or like called the right heads or tails all except one. So he was saying, we have the 3 sets of E's, so we want 1 set of E's, but he was right every single call going through and one confusion. I said, looking forward to hear from the leadership kids. I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks going through the holiday seasons at the school. I've seen their door decorations that they're going to make, and I'm just looking forward to see how that goes. We have our attendance drive, the sophomores one, I don't think they said that, but the sophomores one, the canned food drive by long shot, and probably in part that Mr. Dubay is, I think, offering some extra cans coming in. So the sophomores really kind of ran with that one. So they on Friday gave hot cocoa, marshmallow, candy cane. I set it up in the comments, they get hot cocoa in the camping contest. And that's about it. Guys have any questions?
Sure, I mentioned all over the place, but those phone calls I can make. How's that go?
I rarely have I met a person that is not my friend. I like talking to people, so I don't have any problem with it. Just, and I think parents are really appreciative to get a phone call from somebody from the proactive side that, hey, I'm just checking in with you. I'm gonna be the voice that you're gonna hear all the time. How about you? But no,
I think it's positive, like, it's a different phone call than that I often make, right? So it's, hey, I just want to check in, see what's going on, how can we help? That's a pretty positive, fun phone call to make.
you can turn any phone call with the parent, like, even I'm kind of making sure they're very aware of the status, like graduation and grades, and that way, I think you can do it in a positive, proactive way, right? And truly, I want to be a person that can help that student get across the graduation stage, so it's building that relationship first. Last week, we won, I'm sure they get going through, we get bigger, better, and closer relationships with parents.
That's great.
Sure.
I'm really curious to see how that class mixture goes.
Oh, the 2 classes?
Yeah,
He's, I think he's been doing that kind of ad hoc period right now. And it's pretty successful. I mean, the kids want to be there. So he has that kind of magnetic personality where the kids enjoy him. And so I think that we hope that he just continues. But like I said, a lot of this is, prompted, it was kind of a vision I had early, but it's really driven by him. He has the vision. He's a self-starter and kind of a go-getter. So a lot of this stuff is self-initiated for him.
I'm really curious to hear feedback on that. How to high school, I like that.
You can come down, be part of that class anytime you want.
Keep that in mind. Something like a board member come and sit down on a teacher.
Is the heads and tails kid picking for that game?
I'll ask him.
Tell us where to put that. All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Brings us to 8.4 financial report. Sherry.
Well, it's interesting, I was reading this because I wrote this a few weeks ago. We hadn't received any of our current tax year receipts, but as of the month of November, we received 2.8 million of our 3 point something that we expected. So it's coming in just faster than I can count it. So it looks really good for current tax season receipts. everything else is going according to plan. I got the first draft of the audit today. I haven't had time to read it yet, but they've got their part done, so I need to go through and make sure it's all right. Then we'll get a final one to send to the state and then I'll be able to present that. But that's the biggest things happening in my world.
Thank you very much. 8.5. Evening, Jim.
All right, some economic forecasts is always the month of November and December. So we've got a new chief state economist. So we introduced some revised methodologies this year that resulted in a significant projected revenue increase for the state. There's poised to impact current and future biennia, which are implications for the K-12 education funding. So some key highlights there. Number one, for 23-25 biennium. The net general fund and lottery resources increased by 982.5 million compared to the September forecast. Corporate kickers projected at 1.024 billion, up from 882.8 million. And it's mandated for K-12 education in the next biennium. The personal kicker increased significantly to 1.792 billion, which is up from 987 million. And the state reserve account, so we've got combined reserves between the Education Stability Fund, the Rainy Day Fund, and the cash reserves. They're projected to be at 5.72, which is equivalent to 20.5% of general fund budget. 25-27 biennium, so our net general fund and lottery resources projected to increase by 2.337 billion compared to the September forecast. We got carryover revenue of 945 million from the 22-25, a little over 25-27. And the corporate activity tax is where we saw a slight decline of 40.1 million. And that will most likely impact the Success Act funding. The implications for us, corporate kicker, that'll fund K-12 education directly in the next biennium. Offer a notable boost to resources, audit revenues will be included in projected increases, and those funds significantly contribute to our state school fund. Our local groups, OASBO, which is the business manager side and COSA's administrative side, are still talking about just the need for advocacy. So despite the positive revenue news, the ongoing advocacy is going to be essential. We also had, I'm going to jump off of this a little bit to the today the governor actually put out her recommended budget for the next biennium. And there's a couple of things that have happened. So one of them was the increase and the changes to how they figured their current service level. The current service level is that starting number that we always start with what figures what it will cost its service level. So that service level basically being rolled up. So for years they've advocated that the state was using really kind of old figures and an antiquated way to figure that out. They actually got in front of Government Protect this year with some of our advocacy groups and worked on that. So there were some positive changes made. So the change to the current service level increased by 600 million for this next biennium. And that's including an 85 million to some first increases. And then the total state fund allocation in the recommended budget. So this is the first number that's coming out from the governor. I don't think we've ever seen it drop below that, but it's at 11.36 billion. So the number this last biennium we were funded at 10.2. Is what it was, so we're starting considerably higher. Costs have continued to rise as well, but I think it's kind of slowed down overall. So some good news with revenue, good news I think with the starting number as far as the budget is concerned. The advocacy I think continuing for school, but we are not being hit with the first cost for our school districts across the state. We've got some pretty outstanding first costs that are going up. And there's just a lot of other competing interests in the state as well, but we need to make sure that education continues to stay at the top of the list. Take a look and see what's coming out. Let's just go through the legislative process and be ready for the budget for you in 9 minutes.
Right, thank you. Then Did you have anything you wanted to add with, the evaluation timeline?
I think just some reminders, so third bullet down on that form, what will happen there December 16th is I'll come ready for a open session, I'll have a packet that's similar to last time, that will have the goals and objectives that we've outlined, and then some examples or some specific feedback as far as how we're going towards meeting some of those goals. But that'll happen on December 16th, and then the evaluation documents will be sent to the board on January 27th, and we'll be doing more of the evaluation and the formal process of the evaluation. So
All right. Questions? Thank you very much. Board communication 9.1, calendar of events.
some items that are coming up. So Drew's got signed up for a December 11th Booster Club meeting, and this was one that was moved from November. So it's moved with it. On December 9th, though, we have an FFA state officer meeting. It's really set up for kind of an open discussion. During the daytime, though, 2:20 to 3:10, and that'll be in the new forestry classroom. With Angela's class. I think it's real similar to one that she hosted last year as well. So we have three, I believe, student state officers that showed up. They each give a presentation, and then there's just kind of an open discussion that takes place after that. It was an informative meeting for me, having everything. So that's December 9th, again, starting at 2:20 in Angela's room. December 18th, we've got our Education Foundation meeting at 6:30 here in the community center. And then jumping into January 8th is another Booster Club meeting, and January 15th, another Education Foundation meeting. So some of these events, some of the things are just slowed down, but we'll continue to add these to the calendar so you guys can see them. And if they would like to sign up for it.
Good. Any other business? All right, our next board meeting will be the last of the year, December 16th at 7 p.m. right here in the community center. We are adjourned.